The intro you just watched was created with a little program I wrote using Claude Code, leveraging Google's VO3, which I accessed via fal.ai. The idea behind this program is I wanted a way to dynamically generate YouTube intros. I wanted to be able to take a title and a footer and overlay that on top of some cool visuals and then have it and my face fade into the frame. I then wanted to take that and be able to combine it with another recording and not have to worry about like syncing up the audio and doing all that kind of stuff. The source code for this program is in the show notes below, or I'm going to reply to the comments if this is on X. And I've also including with this the spec that I use, so you can kind of go and take this and put it into Claude Code, Klein, OpenAI, whatever it is that you're using, Cursor, to kind of vibe code this up. So I'm going to go through some of the pitfalls I encountered that if you were maybe a non-engineer might cause you to spend a lot of money, and kind of just show you some examples of the problems that you might encounter doing this. So I think the first one to kind of call out is around text rendering. So let's have a look at one of the earlier iterations of this. Now immediately you'll see there is some typos here like Claude Code, weirdly capitalized YouTube, and then at the start of the video it kind of included some really weird text there. A lot of these models right out of the box are not really good at text rendering, and if you weren't aware of that, you might iterate a number of times, calling out to fal.ai using VO3. That's really expensive. It's July 2025, and I think using VO3 costs roughly 30 cents a second. Roughly, it's really expensive. So if you were naively doing that, that would cost you a lot of money. If you were a software engineer, you might say, hey, I can composite the text and this other stuff using another technique, and that's going to take less time, and I can cache the visuals, which generally look pretty good, and then just overlay that on it. But if you weren't a software engineer, you might not know that, and that could basically cost you a lot of money. Another thing that is a common problem is artifacts in the image that you're using, especially if you're sort of clipping the edges and stuff like that. So let's see an example of this. Oof, that doesn't look very good. So another classic video problem has to do with synchronization. So I combined this intro with an earlier video I recorded to kind of illustrate this point.
Yesterday I saw this really cool.
And now you can obviously tell that my voice sounds very deep there. Other synchronization problems that I had was that the audio in the second video is slightly off when I combined them. I added a few kind of fixes to the specification that's included with the source code so that hopefully the next time you try and do this, you don't run into these types of problems. Anyway, in terms of Claude Code credits, this cost about $11.85 to iterate to. I spent about 50 to 100 bucks in fall credits for it, which is way more expensive, mainly because I was kind of screwing around with a bunch of things. But if you didn't know what you were doing, it would be really easy to kind of get into a situation where you spend a huge amount of money on this. And I think this brings up a really important point where a lot of people are saying, oh, tools like Claude Code means that your software engineering skills don't matter, or you don't need a video producer anymore. I don't think so. To get a really good result really requires knowing these tools quite well, knowing prompts, knowing techniques, knowing the right models to use. There's a lot of skill in this, and I just wanted to kind of show you behind the scenes some of the stuff that you might encounter. Again, I'm not an expert in video at all. I have worked with audio in a past life as a software engineer, but I wouldn't consider myself a super expert. Anyway, just thought you'd think this was interesting, and hopefully it saves you some money and allows you to do some cool stuff. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.